hello everybody. I see that some of you are already here. Um, we are here with Cynthia from Cynthia Medrano and Associates. Before we start, I want to do a quick intro of who Cynthia is. Cynthia is not only is the first and only accountant I have trusted with my accounting matters since I arrived to Canada. Since day one, I felt in really good hands when I witnessed not only the professionalism of her team and her, but also how they managed to transmit so much empathy and care in such a mundane process. Let me tell you a little bit more about her. In 1997, Cynthia stumbled upon an accounting job that initiated her passion in number crunching. Since then, she has dedicated herself to mastering the business, administration, tax preparation, and accounting, with expertise in bookkeeping, payroll, and benefits. Yes, sorry, I'm kind of reading my notes a little bit. Cynthia now serves as a trusted full charge, charge bookkeeper, providing tailored accounting solutions for individuals and business. Her commitment to finding the optimal solutions remains unwavering, making her a valuable asset to her clients through her company, Cynthia Medrano and Associates. So welcome, Cynthia, and thank you so much for sharing some of your time with us. Do you want to tell a little bit about you to the community besides what I just told them?
No, we're a team of 7, so it's a lot of people working. It's not just me, so a lot of people here. We do a lot of taxes for newcomers, both students and people that come with like work permit, the ones that come with the permanent residence. So that's probably half of the taxes that we do. So we know a lot about what we're doing. We do training every year, so we're prepared, right, to do your taxes.
Amazing. Okay, so yeah, let's dive into the questions. I think you just answered my first question, but let's start with who needs to declare taxes? What kind of status do they have to have in Canada in order to declare taxes?
As long as they have a SIN number, they can file taxes. And in Canada, you file taxes based on residency. So if you reside in Canada, then you need to declare taxes. Even if you didn't work or go to school, you still need to file your taxes every year. And that's so you can access to the benefits that Canada offers. So pretty much everyone.
Everyone. What are those benefits that you're mentioning? Like, I feel like a lot of people may not understand the long-term benefit of declaring taxes. Could you give us an idea of what that means?
So the benefits that get paid to the taxpayer are like the GST and HST credit. For BC now, there is a new renter's credit that if you rented a place for more than 6 months, and you can access up to $400 as another credit. And then, for example, if you study, you get the tuition credits. So when you file taxes, those get added to your non-refundable tax credits. And then when you work, taxes get taken from your paycheck, then you get the money back if you have the tuition credits, right?
Mm-hmm.
What other credits? For example, if there are people that have children, there is the child benefit too. That is an amount that gets paid every month, and it's also calculated based on your income. There's also the Canada Workers Benefit, that is a credit that gets paid to people with low to moderate income. So if you didn't make much money compared to other people here, then you get the money paid out to you. So that's a refundable tax credit. Some credits are non-refundable, but others are paid to you, right?
Mm-hmm. What's the process? And I mean, probably we can talk a little bit more about this later, but like, how do I claim those benefits? Is it something that I have personally to tell the government, like, hey, I want this, or what's the usual process in order to get them? If I apply, of course.
Yeah, so some, for example, the renter's credit and the GST credit, when you file your income tax, those get automatically calculated and paid to you. But for example, the child benefit is not. You need to apply. Once you get to Canada, after 18 months that you lived here with your children, then you get to apply. That's a separate application, right?
Okay.
Yeah, those are the main ones.
The main ones. Great.
Hmm.
Um, what documents, and I know these changes depending on your situation. I know that in the audience we have a little bit of, single people and people with families, but what are the basic documents that you need at the time of declaring your taxes?
For students, will be the official tuition form, which is T2200. And then for people that have jobs, will be the T4. If you got taxes deducted from your paycheck. If you work as a contract, it will be a T4A. Some students have like scholarships. They call them bursaries. So that gets reported on a T4A. Then if you brought money and you have it a deposit account, then you might get a T5 or a T3. If you work in construction, it's T5008. No, T5018. Those are the mainly ones that people will get.
Mm, Okay. Just for the people in the audience and the people watching the recording, we'll be putting captions. So in case that you didn't understand those numbers, don't worry, you can read them below. Okay, one of my questions regarding those forms is I have talked with people that they come to me and they're like, I was paid in cash. How do I declare those taxes? How do I claim those forms? What will you advise them in that situation?
So if you got paid with no deductions, then there is a form called T2125 that is a statement of business. What is it? Statement of business, professional income. So when you work and you got paid cash or got paid with no deductions, then you become self-employed. So you just need to add up everything that you got paid, say $10,000, and then as a business, you can deduct expenses. So, for example, if you work in a like doing delivery for something, then you need like uniforms, or maybe you had expenses for a vehicle, like a car, gasoline and all that. So it depends on what you did to see the kind of expenses that you could write off, like your phone, maybe internet, maybe home office. It all depends, right? But it's important that you declare even if you don't pay cash.
Um, let's go back a little bit to families. So you were saying that, of course, there's that childcare benefit that they could potentially apply to. What special documents do they need to submit with their taxes? Is there something that they need to request at their schools, or like anything related to their kids?
For expenses for children, mainly like if they go to a daycare, they will issue a official receipt that totals it says the name of the child, and then it says how much you pay during the year, right? So they can also write off like camps that they left the child and then they came and picked the child up, right? So sometimes they issue also receipts. So when parents will claim childcare expenses, only one person will get it. So if it's a couple, the lower income is the one that's gonna get the deduction for the child expense, dependent expense is called, and it's up to $8,000.
Okay.
Yeah. So that gets deducted from their income. So in
Okay.
order to claim childcare expenses, both of them need to work. So if one stays at home, then you cannot write off expenses because there's no
Yeah, no.
income, right?
So for example, and I'm sorry, I'm gonna stay here in this topic of family just a few more minutes. For someone that just came out of maternity or paternity leave, for example, what will be what will be that situation or process like? Like, will they get the benefit in year 2, for example, or do they have to wait this whole year first, being both employed before applying to the benefit? Like, how does that
No,
work?
yeah. So the waiting period for the 18 months is for newcomers only. So if the
Oh,
child was born in Canada, then there's no waiting period.
okay.
Automatically they start receiving it, right? And if they are in maternity or paternity leave, they get the T4E from the government, which says how much money they got paid. So they need to declare that also in their taxes.
Okay, great. Okay, moving on from the family situation. Few people is asking that they have property and business in their home country. How does that affect their declaration of taxes here in Canada?
They also need to declare that. In Canada, we need to declare our work income. So it doesn't matter what country it was, but we need to declare it as foreign income. So there's a form that we enter that information, and it can be employment income, it can be professional income, it can be a business, or also some people have properties overseas and they rent them. So they have to declare the rental income also.
Mm-hmm.
Overall.
It's an overall like package. Is there like, I know that it depends on the countries, right? But is there like on top of your mind a list of or a mini checklist of the documents that they need to get in their home countries in order to support that income?
The government mainly won't ask you for proof of income in other countries, but they will ask you for proof of taxes paid. So if you're declaring income, there's no problem. But if you're declaring income taxes deducted, then you need the declaration from your country that says that you did pay those taxes, and it has to be in English.
Okay,
By a
so it needs to
translator,
be
right?
translated.
Yes.
Does it need
Yes.
to be okay? Does it have to be notarized or something, or can it be just like a simple like a informal
I don't think.
translation?
Yeah, it can informal translation, but along with the actual tax
The
return
actual
from the other country. It's
yeah.
official, right? Like not assessment name.
Yeah, okay, got it. Um, Next question. um, I didn't know. This is yeah, not me, but this is on someone's question. What happens when, for example, you have been living here more than a year? This is the second season, like tax season that you live, but last year, for example, you didn't realize that you needed to declare taxes. What happens then? Do you get penalized? What's the process? Yeah, will you give us some advice on that matter?
So if like you can file taxes up to 10 years back.
Oh.
So it's no problem. You can e-file them, there's no problem. So if the government owes you money, it's all right. They're not gonna charge you a penalty for late filing, right? They'll just give you the money that they owe you. But in case you had to pay the government because they didn't deduct enough money from your paycheck and then you end up paying, then they will charge you late fees and interest on the amount. And it gets, I don't know the percentage, but it will get calculated per month and year, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you know that they're gonna get money back, no rush. But if you know you might not and you owe them
Yeah,
money, then it's probably
better to get them done sooner.
yeah.
There's cases, for example, of people that arrived to Canada in December 2023 or November 2023. Will they have to declare taxes this time, like in this season, or can they wait to next year?
No, that they have to declare taxes because they need to file the immigrant tax return with the date of entry,
Okay.
and it needs to match what is in the passport, right? So CRA needs to have that first tax return.
Now that you're talking about the passport and whatever, how does immigration relates to CRA? Is there any impact? Like, for example, if someone hasn't declared taxes for 5 years and down the road they want to apply to a PR or a citizenship, is there probably a potential risk of affecting their immigration process because of that CRA profile?
I don't know how it affects, but most people that come like late filers, they say that they're talking to the lawyer and they need the taxes done like yesterday because they need to show the elective assessment. So I think they cannot apply to the permanent residence if they have not filed all those taxes.
Okay, got it. This is just a question that popped up to my mind. When it comes to health insurance, for example, international students, at least in BC, we have to pay, or yeah, we have to pay like any like international student insurance. is that something that we can't, what's the expression? I'm
Write
not,
off.
like, write off. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Any out of pocket expenses that are medical. There is a list on CRA side of allowed medical expenses. So payments to private health are part of the list.
Okay, great. Um, okay, coming back to probably the returns or what I owe the CRA, right? So there's, for example, a situation in which people is saying, the first year that I declare my taxes, I did get money back returned. But in the second time that I applied to my taxes, I ended up owing the CRA. However, my situation didn't change. Like, I didn't change jobs. I was still under a student permit. So why could that be?
If I have to look at the tax
It
return,
depends.
it could be that the first year they didn't make enough money, so they qualify for the Canada Workers Benefit, which is it can be $2,000, right? That's a lot. So your actual income tax refund might be like $20, and then the workers' benefit is like 2,000, so you get 2,020 back, right? But then the
Mm-hmm.
following year you make more than the cap for that benefit. So you don't get the benefit; you only get the money that was taken over from your like
Yeah.
paychecks. So it depends. I will need to look at the apples to apples and see all the lines and see why. Sometimes some students, when they file the tax forms for work, they say there that they are international students. So when they say they're students, there's less taxes taken. And
Mm,
then they keep working, but they already finished studying, so they don't have the tuition credits, right? So
mm.
then they don't have what to write off, and then they end
Yeah,
up paying more tax.
exactly. Got it. What, on that student note, what kind of, so okay, there's this, like, international students that are enrolled to full-time programs, right? How about partners that are probably under work permits and then probably enrolled to part-time studies? Could they also write that off as like an education benefit?
If they get the tuition form from the institution, yes.
Okay, great. Um, Now, okay, let's go back to the CRA. We owe the CRA money. Um, what happens if I have to pay them back, but I cannot afford paying them back right now? What are my options? Will I get a penalty fee for not paying right away? How is that process? How does that look
So
like?
if you end up paying them and you don't have the money, it's better that you call CRA and arrange a payment plan. So they will ask you, okay, how much money you can pay? Okay, I can pay $50 a month. So they send you a letter and in which says that you said that you're gonna pay this much, and then you need to send the money every month, right? So it's
Mhm.
better if you are proactive and call them and explain the situation and arrange than them chasing you and sending you a letter every month and you're ignoring because you cannot pay, right? So it's
Mhm.
better always to call them and say the situation.
And say, what will be your advice? Because I have noticed that this is a similar situation, like a common problem of people, mostly students, that end up working two part-time jobs. Could you just explain us why most of the times they end up owing money to the CRA even though taxes are being deducted?
Because they didn't take enough.
Okay.
Because companies, when you hire someone and they say they're a student, the form, when you put it in this tax software, assumes that that's the only job that they have because they need to go to school the other part time, right? So they only
Mhm.
take little taxes
Okay.
and then you end up paying more. So it's
Is
better
there,
not to send it to them. So you get more taken from your paycheck.
yeah, probably you can help us understand a little bit more the tax brackets, like what percentage do you get taken off by earning how much? I don't know how to formulate that question, but you know what I mean, right?
The brackets, yeah, it's like if you go to CRA, just Google CRA tax brackets. So it's a tier system. So if you make from 0 to 20,000, no, to 15,000, then you pay no taxes because you're not taxable. And then if you make from 15 to 20, then it's like say 5%, and then so it keeps going up. So the more you make, the more taxes you pay. but it's like you pay 5% on the first 45,000, right? Let's say, and then from 45 to 60, you pay 11%. So it keeps adding, but
Mhm.
it's, for everyone it's the same. We all pay the same for the first 20,000, and
First
then we
time.
all pay the same rate. And if you make like 200,000, then you pay like 40%, right? So
Okay.
it's like tier.
Yeah. How does it work with families? Like, joint income. Does it apply? Like, it sounds a little bit naive and ignorant, but like, do those brackets apply as individuals or as a couple? Like, how does that work? Or like as a household income? How will that work?
So for the taxes itself, it's per person, but for the benefits, it's as a couple. It's a family household income. For the GST, for the child benefits, right? And if it's
Mhm.
the workers' benefit, only one can get it. If it's the GST, only one can get it. Child benefit gets paid to the lower earner also, so it's per house. But the income tax itself, not the benefits, is per person.
Okay. This is probably a very me question, but I know that probably people is gonna down the road probably face the same situation. When someone gets into a common law relationship, what will be your advice? Are they required to declare taxes together, or can they keep their taxes declarations apart?
They can do either or, like one can go to H&R Block, one can go to Liberty Tax, right? Or one can join the other, whatever they want. But once you change your status from single to common law or to married, then you need to report to CRA the other person's name, SIN number, date of birth, and income.
Mm.
So even though you're filing separate, Canada Revenue will take it as a family. And in some cases, some people were getting GST payments and then they got married. So sometimes because the family income is more than the total amount to get the credit, then they get a letter from CRA asking for the money back. That happened to a lot of clients
That
because they
happened to
calculate.
me.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't know why they do that, but they make the calculation a year ahead. So
Mm,
then they pay you, and then when they get the taxes, then they ask you for the money back, right? So it's a
okay.
shame, but yeah, we
Yeah.
see that a lot.
Okay. Let me see what's the next question. What? Okay, no, wait, sorry. Is there, I mean, I think you already went over them, but is there like a specific benefit slash grant that we should be aware of for this tax season? Like something that is happening maybe just once that you want people to be aware of?
The renter's tax credit is a new one for 2023. It was done by other provinces like Ontario, Saskatchewan, but BC didn't have it. So now BC is having it, and it's a refundable tax credit. So they give you the whole 400 if you're up to $60,000 in income. So that's a good one because you're getting $400 for nothing, right?
For
Just
rent?
because you rent. So that's a good one. And then there is an account called the FHSA, which is a first-time home buyer savings account. So you can deposit in that account up to 8,000 per year, up to 40,000, right? So any amount that you are depositing there gets deducted from your taxable income. So that's a pretty good one. It's like a
Mm,
retirement account, but it's for when you're gonna buy a house.
yeah.
So you pay less taxes just because you're putting money there.
Now that you're mentioning the provinces, do you, as Cynthia Medrano and Associates, cover people or offer your services to people all over Canada, or are you like specific to certain provinces?
No, we do all over Canada. We do Alberta, Saskatchewan, Ontario, and Montreal, Quebec,
Quebec.
and here.
For the people in Quebec, is there something, because we know that Quebec is unique?
It's only
Do they have to get something like? Should they be aware of like a special form or a special document before they declare their taxes?
in Quebec is like all the other provinces. You do one tax that you send to CRA. In for Quebec, there's two taxes: one for CRA and one
Mhm.
for the Revenue Quebec. In that one, the difference is you need to declare there if you have a health insurance, like a plan through work or whatever you have. And then they were the ones doing the rental. So it's different in Quebec because you get a form with like a code there when you're renting a property. And if without that code from that form, you cannot write off the rental, right? So it's important that when you do your contract, you also tell the landlord that you're going to require that form for your taxes. That's and then everyone else gets a T4. So we all get a T4 that says BC or Ontario, whatever province. But for Quebec, you get the T4 and you also get it's called, how to say, Releve 1. So it's a different form because in Quebec, they also take provincial taxes a lot. A lot. It's like the same amount as, yeah. So those people will need, sometimes they want to file, but they only have the T4. So if we only have the T4, we cannot file because we need the relevant one. It's important that they get that one.
Cool. Going back to the rent benefit, and I'm so sorry if I'm jumping all over the place, but going back to the rent benefit, how would it work for people that work from home? Like, that's a big thing after the pandemic. Is there something that they need to request their employers in order to maybe claim a benefit, if there's any?
Yeah, so people that work from home, if they can ask the employer to give them the form T2200, it's called Declarations of Employment. So in that form, the employer will say, I am employing this person in this address, and I'm requiring them to work from home. I'm not paying them back for the rent. There's like 13 questions. So the employer needs to tick everyone and then sign and put their title and phone number and everything. And those get, we don't send the form to CRA, but a lot of times we've seen that they audit that one. So you need to have the form if you want to claim that. So you get the form from your employer and then you file another form, which is T776, I think it is. And in that one, you're going to pay how much rent you pay, what's the square footage that you use, utilities, internet. For the people that pay and get commission, they can also write off telephone and some entertainment expenses, car expenses. So if you make commission, you get more write-offs than if you are an employee, right? But it's a T2200, the form.
Great. I know probably this is a really like a really deep question, and we will have probably need more time to answer it. But could you explain us a little bit more about the Canadian pension and employment insurance that get deducted from the pay stub? I don't know if that's something that you could explain us, so feel free to say no, but that's something that came up in the questions. Like, people want to understand, like, what's the EI that I see in my pay stub, and is Canadian pension something that I can just, drop off? Like, I don't need it because maybe I'm not gonna stay here, or I don't want pension in the long term. Is there anything that you can share with us related to that?
Yeah, those are like mandatory. So we get taken income tax, CPP, and EI, right? So the EI, I think the maximum is $1,002, I think, 45. So the EI gets deducted from your paycheck, and also the employer pays 1.4 of that amount. So we pay 1,000, they pay 1,400, and that goes to unemployment insurance. So if you get laid off, or if you get fired, you can go to EI and ask for unemployment insurance, right? So they will pay you an amount. I don't know the amount, but it's a percentage of what you were making. So if you get injured or something like that, then you can claim that benefit. And also, in order to qualify for maternity benefits, you need to have the EI. So, for example, me, I used to work as a freelance, so I didn't have any EI. So when I went to maternity leave, I had no money. I cannot claim what you put money. So sometimes people don't like that, but it comes handy, right? So if I get injured or something, I cannot claim it either. So it's a good thing. And then the CPP.
Sorry, keep going.
No.
Sorry.
Okay.
No, I was gonna. I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
we keep on cutting each other. Finish. Let's finish, and then I'll wait to ask you the question later.
CPP is just the pension, the Canada pension plan. So that's for your retirement also. So that's, I think it's 3,400 that you pay, and employer pays the same. So like 7,000 goes to the government. I know a lot of people are not going to stay here. So I don't know the process, but I heard people from Spain that they had asked for the pension to be transferred to Spain. I don't know if that worked or not, but I think they might be a way to do it, but I don't know how to do it.
We can totally look that later. Do a research on that. So my question was going to be related to your freelance situation and maybe like contractors that are watching this. What will be the best way to claim those kind of like EI and CPP benefits? Is there like, can they at the end of the year say like, okay, I kind of kept these percentage saved? Can they pay for that like in a year in advance or a year later, or how will that work?
Yeah, for example, the CPP you have to pay. So once you do the calculation, you're gonna see on your income tax summary that you're paying CPP. So when you're freelance, you pay your portion of CPP and the portion of the employee, which is yourself. So you end up paying the whole thing, right? So it depends on how much money you make. Then for EI, you can elect to pay EI on like self-employment, right? So you need to, on your income tax, you need to say, yes, I want to apply for self-employment, self-coverage, I think it's called. So then CRA is going to, I think they send you a bill for an amount per month. So you contribute even though you're not working for someone. So if you have children, right, then you can accumulate hours or money paid and then you can claim it later on, right? So you could pay on your own.
Yeah. That's great. I run out of questions. I think the last question, but then we can just, if you have anything else on top of your mind that you want to share, that will be great. But the last question is, do I have to use an accountant? Is that a thing that we all have to do? Or in case of not being able to afford one, could I do them myself? Could I do declaration of taxes myself while I get the money to pay an accountant?
Yeah, so there is a lot of tax clinics. So I don't know, maybe through college or through the community centers, but I know there's a lot of them in this season that there's people like myself that will donate their time and do taxes for, especially like refugees or newcomers that don't have a job, right? So they cannot afford it. Or you can do it also online. So you can go to like H&R Block, for example, has an online thing, and then TurboTax. There's a lot of software,
Yeah.
and it's not a lot that they charge you like probably $10 for filing. And I would recommend that if you're doing it on your own, do it in different softwares. So if you get the same amount, then you're doing it right, right? And just make sure you put every single like number, like triple check it, so you don't make a mistake.
Great. But honestly, for everybody that is watching this, I wouldn't like change anything of the way that I declare my taxes. I know it's an extra expense for sure, but I feel like the piece of passing everything to someone that knows and a professional is just like so worth the investment. And I feel like probably I'm being a bootlicker right now, but doing it with Cynthia and her team has been like game changer because they have been super empathetic, super honest. They are just down to answer any questions that I have all the time, and I feel like that makes everything just easier. And I will not change that for TurboTax or any of those platforms. So like fortunately Cynthia and her team have gave us a promotional code, so if you guys need any support, if you want just to get maybe either consult Cynthia and her team about any other questions that you may have, we got the code nomadic. I'll leave it down in the description and I'll share it in our group chat so you guys can totally use it. Remind me, is it for $20 off? $20 off. So that's a really good promotion, you guys. And I feel like for you, if you're new, if this is your first declaration season, sorry. Take it. Honestly, it's worth it. It's life changing, and for real, you're gonna have the process is gonna be way easier and more peaceful and not super stressful. Like I feel like we are already super stressed with the process of settling here and finding jobs, finding a home or whatever, and just adding another stress to your life with taxes is just not worth it. So totally use the code. Is there anything else, Cynthia, that you want to share with us before I let you go?
I live in the States for 9 years and then moved to Canada 14 years ago. So my first tax, I had no money, so I did it on my own. So I went to the post office and I got the paper. They used to have a paper thing. So I filled it out and it took me like 6 days. Because I didn't understand the questions, I had to go and Google, what does it mean, this, that. because even though the States is similar to Canada, it's different. So that first year was challenging for me, and then I took the course and learn more, right? But yeah, I would
You're
recommend
like,
also
I
to
don't
go.
understand this. Let me become a professional and then start doing it for
Yeah.
other people. There you go. That's great. No, that this is awesome, Cynthia. And for real, like again, what you have built, the team that you have built is incredible. I'm really, really, really proud to be one of your clients. And it's honestly so easy. You make the whole process so easy. And I really appreciate that. And I truly appreciate that you're sharing some of your time with us. It's really like I hope that you are aware of what this means to many. So thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. And yeah, I'll let you go because I know that you have more important duties. But yeah, it was a pleasure to connect with you and to see you in person. Is great. It's great to put a face
Yeah.
behind such an amazing company.
Thank you. Yeah, if people have questions too, they can write to the WhatsApp or an email, and we'll answer the question, right? Like,
Yeah, we'll
so.
share all the info. We'll share social media, website, WhatsApp, yeah, information. And yeah, feel free, guys, to drop us any other questions. If you have accounting, bookkeeping, finance questions, I guess, just go straight to Cynthia because maybe we
Okay.
don't have those answers. But now you have one person. Now you know this Cynthia is here to help you with all these um, process and all the kind of like doubts that you may have. But that's it.